All right, let's get right into it. You know, most retirement advice you hear, it's all about one thing: money, money, money. But what if the real gold, the most valuable insights, come from people who've, well, already made the leap? That's what we're doing today. We're going way beyond the bank account to figure out what a truly fulfilling retirement looks like based on the wisdom of people living it right now.
And that right there is the heart of this whole explainer. See, we're not just going to talk about financial planning. We are getting into the nitty-gritty, the real-world struggles, the things that catch you by surprise. These are the eye-opening lessons people learn after they've left their 9 to 5. This is the stuff nobody really talks about, but absolutely everyone needs to hear.
And this really frames the big difference, doesn't it? Typical advice is just laser-focused on the numbers in your account, but the wisdom from retirees, it's about your entire life. It's a huge shift from just funding your retirement to actually living it. So we've broken down their advice into 3 key pillars.
Okay, first up is your world. Think of this as the practical stuff, the physical environment you're going to build for yourself, everything from your budget to your backyard. And let's kick it off with what is probably the most common mistake people make.
So here's the thing retirees warn about, and it's a big one. It's so easy to overestimate your nest egg because you've totally underestimated what you'll actually spend day to day. And we're not talking about big fancy vacations here. We're talking about the cost of just living. If you get that math wrong, oof, you could burn through your savings way, way faster than you ever imagined. And believe me, it is so easy to get this wrong. You might look at your numbers and think, yeah, $3,000 a month, that sounds about right. But in reality, your costs can literally double. That's a super common trap, and it's what stops a lot of new retirees from doing the things they actually dreamed of doing.
So where's all this extra money going? Well, it's these hidden costs that get you. Things like your homeowner's insurance suddenly doubling, especially if you move somewhere like Florida. Or property taxes and car insurance that just seem to creep up year after year. Not to mention inflation. These are the sneaky little details that can totally derail even the most carefully laid plans.
This whole financial reality check leads right into the next big decision, your house. The absolute key piece of advice here is to seriously think about downsizing. A home without stairs, with less yard work, with less stuff to worry about, it frees up your money, sure, but more importantly, it frees up your time. It's all about fitting the life you have now and the one you're gonna have for years to come.
And where that home is matters a lot. So many people swear they'll never shovel snow again, so they pack up and move south. But then they discover they absolutely cannot stand the brutal heat and humidity. And you know what? Whether it's freezing cold or boiling hot, the result is exactly the same. You end up hibernating inside for months, just wasting precious time you can never, ever get back.
And for this first pillar, let's talk about a really crucial point on healthcare. It's not just about having a bunch of hospitals nearby. The real issue in a lot of these popular retirement spots is that the doctors are just completely overloaded. You might not be able to get an appointment for months. So the key isn't how many buildings there are. It's about your actual access to care when you really need it.
Okay, so that's the external world. Now let's turn inward and look at pillar 2, yourself. This is all about powering your internal engine, managing your health, your mindset, and maybe most importantly, your sense of purpose after you stop working.
This is a really profound piece of advice from retirees. They say you have to recognize that your first few years of retirement will probably be your healthiest and strongest. So this is not the time to just sit back on the couch. This is your prime time to use that health to travel, to tackle those big projects, to do all the things you've been putting off. Because as you get older, you might not be physically able to do them anymore.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's such a huge shift in how you think about things. You can log in and check your bank balance anytime you want, right? But you can never check your time balance. It forces you to stop thinking about just accumulating wealth and start thinking about how you're going to spend your time. You know, when that morning alarm for work just disappears, a lot of retirees feel, well, a little lost. Their whole routine, their professional identity, poof, it's gone. At first, doing nothing sounds like heaven, but believe me, it gets old fast. The advice is to have a game plan. Find something that feels meaningful, like volunteering. Giving back doesn't just fill your schedule, it gives you a whole new sense of purpose. Come on, you've heard this a million times, right? Well, retirees say it is the absolute gospel truth. A body in motion really does stay in motion. It doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe you skip the buffet at the tiki bar every day, or you just remember to stretch. Whatever it is, staying physically active is just non-negotiable.
And this is the one you hear over and over again. It's such a powerful, common regret. So many people look back and just wish they hadn't taken their health for granted, or that they hadn't spent so much time cooped up in the house. They realize, often too late, that neglecting their physical well-being has really caught up with them, and now it limits what they can actually do and enjoy.
So, you've got your world set up and you're focusing on yourself. What's the final piece of the puzzle? That would be pillar 3, your people. This is all about the relationships and the community that truly form the foundation of a happy life.
You know that old saying, keeping up with the Joneses? Well, it's a huge trap in retirement. It is so easy to look next door and see, oh, they got a new car, or wow, they went on 4 vacations this year. But honestly, who cares? This piece of advice is so simple, but so powerful.
At the end of the day, your retirement is your own. If you have a moderate income, do what's comfortable for you. Real fulfillment in retirement comes from living well on what you've got, not from playing some stressful, endless game of keeping up with everybody else. Oh man, this is a huge question. And for a lot of people, it's a huge fear, especially if you're thinking about moving to a totally new place for retirement. You're leaving behind this whole network of friends you've built over decades. So how in the world do you build a new one from scratch?
Well, here's the secret. Straight from people who've done it successfully, move to a place where pretty much everyone is new. When you're all in the same boat, when everyone is coming from different places and there aren't any of those lifelong cliques, it is infinitely easier to connect and make new friends.
So let's put it all together. Let's talk about building your richest life. Because as you can see, it's about so much more than just money. It's about thoughtfully and intentionally building out these 3 pillars.
So you can almost think of these 3 pillars as your new checklist for a rich life. Have you really planned out your physical world for the future? Are you actively taking care of your internal self, your health and purpose? And are you putting in the work to build your community?
If there is one single thing to take away from all this wisdom, it's this right here. All the financial planning on the planet cannot buy you good health. If you can't physically get out of your chair and enjoy your life, that number in your bank account starts to feel pretty meaningless. Your health, that is your true wealth.
And that really just leaves us with one last question to chew on. The real question isn't how much money do you need to retire, it's how do you want to live? It's about designing a life that's rich in purpose, rich in health, and rich in connection. So what does that life look like for you?